Right, so yes, I'm making a video. Why are you making a video, you might say? You might say, you haven't made a video in ages. You might say, you're a bit of a dick. You might say, go away, don't like you, whatever. You can say whatever you want. But I'm making a video. I've kind of jumping on this bandwagon that Rusty Homebrew posted his video up a little while ago, where he actually made about 7 videos in a row, I think, each of them no more than sort of 10 minutes. And it was like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this video, it's going to be no intro, no outro, no bells and whistles, it's just going to be raw footage, me standing in front of the camera, talking away, having a beer, talking about something that's no editing's needed. So I've been thinking for a while that that's the way to do it, but I didn't do anything about it. So Rusty has started a revolution. He's not Rusty anymore, he's now Wolfie, because he started a BrewTube Revolution. Power to the BrewTubers for you, Rusty. Thank you, Wolfie. So I thought, I like exactly like him. I've made videos, I've done them of brew days, I've stood in front of here, I've turned the camera on, I've turned the camera off, I've been backwards and forwards, I've been making footage, I've been getting it into an editing suite, I've been splicing it together, I've put in an intro, put in an outro, I've changed the title of the intro, I've done all this, that and the other, I've placed it together, and by the time I get to finishing it, I process it, look at it, and it's about 40 minutes long. Start watching it, and about 25 minutes in, I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, I'm bored with this, even if I get to the end. And most of the time, I don't even get to the end. I don't even get to the processing bit. I'll start the editing, get to a bit, and I'll go, well, I'm just bored with this now. I'm going to stop. And nothing goes up. So I'm very much going on Rusty's mantra, which is some footage is better than, or shit footage is better than no footage. So this is going to be recorded, it's going to be taken out, it's going to be uploaded, and it is what it is. Que sera, sera, whatever it comes out, sort of thing. So that's absolutely fine. So Rusty can't take all the glory for this, because really, if you look at it, I think kind of John Anderson, Abbey Homebrew, has been doing this for quite a while now. Rusty sticks to a strict 10 minutes for his video, and he even has a countdown. Now, I'm not going to do that. Some of these videos, I intend to put a few videos up. Some of these might be 15, some might be 5, I don't know, whatever it's going to be. So it's turn the camera on, talk about what it is. There's no 10 minutes that I'm going to stick to. I haven't got a countdown going on, so it is what it is. It's going to be as long as it is. John Anderson, he doesn't sort of like, stick to it. Some of them are longer than 10 minutes, some of them are 25, 30 minutes sort of thing, but it depends what he's got to say. But really, if you look at it, he does the same sort of format in it. I turn the camera on, there's no intro, outro, it's just me standing in front of it, talking about beer and about what's happened with it, and about, it's not always about beer, he talks about other things as well. He talks about electrocuting himself. He talks about his son going to Magaluf when he's 18. He talks about all sorts of things. So that's what John Anderson does. By the way, you may know we call him LJ. John Anderson. He's known as LJ to a few people. You might be interested where that came from, LJ. And what it comes from was one of the first times we went out and we met up at the craft beer festival. We're talking about 6, 7 years ago, possibly that sort of time. We went up in London for the first London Craft Beer Festival. It might have been the first one, but it was the first one we all met up for. And it was a big BrewTube gathering, and everyone got together, and there was loads of people there. And John Anderson turned up, but also John Campbell turned up. So we had 2 Johns. So I said, well, we can't call you John and John, so you have to give you different names. So John Campbell is about 7'4", so he became Big John, and John Anderson is about 4'7", so he became Little John. So Little John very simply become LJ, and Big John is Big John, because we're not going to shorten that, because he's about 7'4", and shortening it wouldn't sound very good and he'd probably kill you. So LJ and Big John, so that's where it came from, if you're interested. A little bit of backstory there. But also, this isn't the only reason. So Rusty's Revolution, power to BrewTubers, isn't the only reason I'm doing these videos. Also, you know, I've been carrying on brewing. I'm still brewing. Like I'm saying, I was making the footage, I was recording it, I was still churning out beers all the time. And I think it's important to have a hobby. You know, I think it's important that you have something that is outside of family and outside of work, that takes up your time a little bit, something you enjoy, something that's good for your mental health and things. You know, people can argue that maybe alcohol isn't good for mental health, but brewing, home brewing, I love it. I get into my shed, I get in my happy place, I've you know, done the recipe, I can just spend hours in here just brewing the beer, really enjoying it. My job is working in front of a computer and processing, you know, reports that I give to people and that sort of thing. There's no solid product that I actually produce. Having something as a hobby that you actually produce an end product, that's what I love. I love having something because I made that, I did that, that was me. I'm fairly good at it, and brewing is, in fact it is beer, is like, you know, that's a bloody benefit as well. So 'cause I like beer as well. So like brewing the homebrew, like beer, double whammy, thank you very much. I think it's important because I know a lot of people, you know, I'm sort of 48 now, you know, not a million miles away from retirement, and we've got friends that are older than us that have retired, and some of them have got to that point where they go, I'm not working, I don't know what I'm doing. I finished work, that was my 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, I was working, and I just don't know what I'm doing with my time now. I think that having a hobby, having something, that's not a problem for me. I know what I'm doing. When I'm retiring, I'm like, I'm doing this, maybe I'll go and play golf, I don't know, but I know that this is going to take a majority of my time. It's something I want to really get involved with it. I'm not sure the wife knows about this at the moment, but it's, you know, something I'm really pleased with and really happy that I want to get involved with, and delve more into and look more into it and read more and learn more and do all this sort of stuff. So it's one of those things. I think it's important to have that thing that you really enjoy. You know, something else as well, which is, I won't get too melancholic about it, but you know, one of the reasons I wasn't doing the videos earlier this year, certain stuff happened to my close family, and it's like, just make sure you're doing something you enjoy, you know, because sometimes shit happens and you never know what's around the corner. So just enjoy yourself, you know. So a bit of life lesson there, sort of like got a bit deep there. So I'll move away from that. I won't get into it too much. So, and another reason I wanted to do these was, like I said, I've still been brewing, still been doing it all, and I'm enjoying it. It's really good, really enjoyable. I enjoy every time I'm in here. I enjoy all my beers pretty much, with a few exceptions obviously. But I just felt there was something missing. I just felt that there was something that I enjoyed before that I'm not quite doing now, and I want to get back into it. And there were two things that sort of dawned on me. It was one, I'm not making the videos anymore. I'm making them, I'm videoing the footage, but I'm not putting them out. And you've got that whole kind of community that is suddenly there, and I'm on the periphery of it, and I'm not going in there and seeing those guys and really feeling part of that community. Still watching some of the videos that people are doing, particularly, you know, John Anderson, Big Banana, those guys, watch them all the time, sort of thing, that I've watched for a long time. Graham Preston, whenever he puts one up, I'll watch Graham, watch a load of people doing their videos. But you do feel like, oh, I'm kind of not part of that anymore, and I'm missing that. I kind of enjoyed that. You know, I'm like, you know, John has said, LJ has said, and Rusty have said, power to BrewTubers. It's not about getting the most subscribers rather. It's just about feeling part of that community. It doesn't matter to me. I could have 200 subscribers or 20, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's more about feeling part of that, and you know, there is this camaraderie that the guys have that make the videos that, you know, I felt not necessarily in there and anymore, and I want to get back in there and do it, and yeah, so that's one of the reasons that I'm doing this again. So I have no idea how long this is going on for now. I've got no timer, I haven't got a clock on the back, I haven't got a screen that I can see that's telling me how long I'm doing. Maybe I should set a timer when I start these now, just see how long it's going on for. But I'm not just going to talk about talking. This is a brewing, what am I thinking of? It's a brewing channel, that's the word, channel that I was thinking of. It's a brewing channel, it's a homebrew channel. So I'll pour a brew, talk to you about what that brew is, I'll talk to you about what I'm doing. Might be able to see, I don't know if you might not be able to hear it. You can probably see there's a brew in the fermenter over in the corner at the moment. I'll talk to you about that in a sec, what that is. I'll talk to you about what's coming up. But let me get a beer poured. Before while I'm pouring this, I'll tell you what it is quickly, because I know I'm running out of time now. It's probably 10 minutes already that I've waffled on for. This is going to be a Kolsch that I brewed. Now I brewed it probably about 3 weeks ago. I could probably say it would tell me the date in here, but I'm not looking at it. But about 3 weeks ago I brewed it. Took about a week and a bit to ferment down. So it's been in the keg now for it's just under a week. So say it take 2 weeks to ferment down and cold crash and keg, etc, etc. It's been there for just under a week. So we'll have a look. It'll probably still be hazy and that. It's a Kolsch. It's 4.6%. It's 4 kilos of Bohemian Pilsner, floor malted Bohemian Pilsner. Woo, la-di-da. 500 grams of Carapils, not floor malted Carapils, just Carapils. And the hops, right, the hops, it's got SARS, it's got Tettnang. So two sort of like noble hops that have got in to as you might see in a lager style beer. But slightly different. The SARS was actually used for bittering, which don't usually do that. It's only 3.2% alphas, but I've been 32 grams of SARS at bittering. Tettnang was 44 grams of Tettnang. That was at the hop stand side for 20 minutes hop stand. In between that, because the SARS was so low and I wanted to get the IBUs up a bit, I whacked in a bit of Magnum. Only 4 grams, just to pump up the IBUs, to be in the sort of mid-20s for the IBUs for it. And it was meant to have it was meant to have 2 drops of Tettnang. One at 0, which is the hop stand one, and one at 5 minutes. But I've got Tettnang down here for a future brew. That brew over there that I've got has also got Tettnang in it, and this had Tettnang in it, and I'm like, I've got a bit Tettnang bloody mad, so I'm gonna have to sort of like cut a bit out of one of them. Which one do I do? This one. I looked at it, I thought, well, what's the equivalent of Tettnang? And I looked, and it was, I can't remember, the substitutes weren't great. So I said, okay, what's the equivalent of SARS maybe? And he said Fuggle. So I just fucking put some Fuggle in there that I had. So it's got 25 grams of Fuggle. So if I go for the hop drops again, it's a 70-minute boil, by the way. 70 minutes. At 70 minutes was 32 grams of SARS and 4 grams of Magnum. At 5 minutes was 25 grams of Fuggle. And a 20-minute hop stand at, I think it's about 80 degrees-ish, 75 to 80, is 44 grams of Tettnang. So that's what went into this brew. Oh, well, hold on a minute as well. The yeast. Something else that I wanted to do with the next 3 brews. So this was the first of 3 brews that I planned. I wanted to try and move away from using some of the liquid yeasts. I've used a lot of liquid yeast. I've made a lot of starters. And in the past, they've gone off like rockets, and I've been really impressed with them and really happy. But the last few have just been really disappointing. And I was like, well, maybe I should just stick to dried yeast. It's so much easier, so much less hassle. You don't have to do the starter. Literally open it up, sprinkle them in. Yep. So with this one, I've used the Loud Brew the Koln, so which is their Kolsch dried yeast. So that's what. So yeah. So it started off. Wait a minute. Let me just tell you. On the brew day, it was Kolsch 4.6%. It actually ended up OG of 1043 and FG of 1008. 4.6%. IBUs 24. So that's where it ended up. Right. But as I said, this is probably going to be fairly. I don't know if you can see me. I'm hoping you can. Probably going to be fairly cloudy still. It's only had, it said, less than a week in. Yeah, it's looking very cloudy, I've got to say. First time I've poured it in a while. So let's see what comes out of this when it comes out of here. I have, just before I started the... there we go. Yeah, look, we're still looking very hazy at the moment. It's cold, right? Obviously, it's got a cold haze on it now. I'm not saying that's what's causing the haze in it. It's at 4.4 degrees in the fridge because I'm trying to lager this down, see how it goes after a few weeks. Yeah, there's no clarity in there at the moment, is there? So I was saying, just before I turned on the camera, I had to change the gas because my gas had just run out. So switched it over to a new don't know why I'm telling you that, but anyway, that was why. So the Kolsch. Let's have a look, have a smell. Very sort of bready. Get a little bit of fruit aroma. Perhaps a little bit of sort of almost like cherry kind of almost on the nose. Yeah, some of that. So yeah, the head, it's alright, it's okay. Right, so the other thing that I'm trying to do, let's go for a sip and I'll tell you about that a bit. It's a very refreshing. Little bit of spice, definitely a bit of spice in there. Definitely get that probably from the SARS. There's a tiny bit of that sort of like fruity kind of flavour. Don't get too much of the bready flavour on the mouth, on the flavour anyway. I think it'll be a good beer. Let's just give it some time. Obviously, like most lager style beers, it needs a bit of time to clear and stuff like that. So happy with it. A nice, clean, refreshing, crisp lager. That's lager style beer. That's kind of what I was going for. The head has gone. Right, so coming back to that head. So I've got various new bits of equipment that I've purchased. Some of them behind me you can see now, or one of them in particular is this big vermouth here. So I really wanted to start sharing beers again. So I wanted to get beers out to people that I could put in beer mail and, you know, just share it, get it out there, get people's thoughts and opinions, people that I would like to send beers to. And I was so fed up with the bottling. I just literally, I've got a... Right, so let's check it's working. Yeah, it's working. Right, so best laid plans and all that. I am going to have to edit this one a little bit because the camera just died on me, so I had to just check that what I just recorded hadn't just been lost on that. So it's there, but I also saw this is like about 18 minutes, so I'm going to have to sort of like, you know, this last bit will be quite short. So anyway, got fed up with the bottling, didn't want to do it anymore. I had a eye bowl tap thingy that still couldn't get it to work right. I was just getting bottles of foam. Every time I gave someone a drink, it was like really just disappointing when it came out of the bottle and that. So like, sod it, I'm going to take a leap and I'm going to jump on the canning bandwagon. There's a bandwagon, really? I don't think so. I think it's like me and maybe one other person I know. So I wouldn't exactly call it a bandwagon, but bought a canning machine from from Malt Miller. Also down here I've got a filling machine as well. So I'll show you in another video, hopefully only 10 minutes long, how it works and how I'm using it. But you have to be careful when you're carbing stuff. So your beers can't be overcarbed. You just have to, like, you know, be careful and look after it. Wasp. Don't overcarb them, because otherwise you just end up with a can full of foam. Yeah, so just be careful with them, don't overcarb them. You'll get cans full of beer, you'll can them up, you'll be happy, you'll send them out to your friends and you'll be like some kind of fucking hero. So that's one of the things I'm going to show you. I'll show you like the new equipment that I've got in here. But for now, I'm going to call this a day because I've been talking for too long. This video's longer than I thought it would be. I'm going to have to splice them together and get it up. Happy Homebrew Wednesday, everyone. This is going to go up tonight, believe it or not. Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye.